the Metrodome in Minneapolis. It'll be wild. It'll be rocking tonight. Hello again, everyone. We're delighted you are with us for this, our final Monday night telecast of the regular 1988 season. And meanwhile, if you're a Chicago Bear, if you can be a trouble team at 12-3, and that's hard to imagine, this is a trouble team. There is internal conflict. There are a lot of injuries involved with this football team. We've talked about them in the past. But it is once again, how would you say, almost like the classic soap opera has developed once again. But somehow, Al, they always seem to overcome this.
Frank, we'll detail it as we move along tonight, but nothing seems to derail this team. It's time to pay a lot of tribute to the Chicago Bears, because in this age of parity, this team has now won 5 consecutive Central Division championships. While everybody else rebuilds and retool, they're like a plane that refuels on the fly. Walter Payton retires. Gary Fensick retires. Wilbur Marshall goes to Washington. You know the list of injuries with Otis Wilson. McMahon plays half the year. The head coach has a heart attack in the middle of the season. But it's time for Mike Ditka and for Personnel Director Bill Tobin to take a bow, because they have really built something very special in Chicago. The Bears come in tonight with the best record in the NFL. Harris, McMichael, Hampton, and Smith, the front four. Singletary, the man in the middle, he'll be going to the Pro Bowl. And the secondary, Dewerson, going to the Pro Bowl as an alternate. And so Mike Tomczak, and this is a story we'll develop. He comes back. He separated his left non-throwing shoulder 3 weeks ago. Missed the Ram game, missed the Detroit game. Anderson and Suey, the running backs. McKinnon and Gentry outside. James Thornton, the rookie, starts at tight end. And the guys up front. Hilgenberg is a Pro Bowl starter, the center. Wagner's kick is a line drive, and Leo Lewis fielding on the run from the 34 into Bear territory. One man to beat. And he stopped at the 3. Ron Rivera saved the touchdown. Second and goal at the 3. No score, early first quarter. Wilson again. Touchdown, Steve Jordan. Where to begin? So many stories to be told tonight. Jim McMahon, there he is in uniform, has not played since October, could play tonight. But Tomczak gets the start, and with a good performance tonight, Tomczak would get the start in the playoffs as well. At the 28-yard line, first down Chicago. Anderson carries for a gain of about 6. It's very simple. I asked Mike Ditka last night. I said, if Tomczak plays well tonight, are you going to end all of the speculation after the game and say that he will start in the playoffs? And Mike said yes.
And there was no hesitation whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, we asked Mike Tomczak what Jim thinks about that. And he said, well, you'd have to ask him. You get the impression that, well, that things are a little tense, as well they should be. You've got two competitors fighting for one job. But clearly, make no mistake, the job right now is Mike Tomczak's to keep if he plays well.
Second and inches now after the penalty at the 38-yard line. Anderson, and he has a first down to the 41. I think, guys, the interesting thing tonight is going to be if Tomczak doesn't play well, does Ditka then think to himself, well, now do I see if I can get McMahon ready for the playoffs, or does he stay with Tomczak all the way tonight?
Pretty interesting, and the problem between the two quarterbacks has erupted throughout the ball club. One of the leaders of this team, Dan Hampton, was openly critical on the air radio show this past week of Jim McMahon. And McMahon, of course, fired a salvo back at Hampton, so there's a lot of bickering going on here.
25-yard line, first down. All the time in the world for Tomczak. He hits Anderson. And Anderson picks up about 9, getting to the 17-yard line. Browner and Studwell converge on the tackle with under 6 minutes to go in the quarter. If these two teams meet, it would have to be in the NFC Championship game. They would not meet in the divisional playoffs because they're in the same division. Big hole for Anderson, but it closes in a hurry as he reaches the 10, and he's knocked back by Joey Browner after a gain of about 4.
A blown play from the very beginning, at least on the offensive line.
And Wade Wilson right to the air on first down on a roll from the 12. And he hits the tight end, Steve Jordan. And Jordan is out of bounds at the 21-yard line after a gain of 9. Let's see what the Vikings do now with what amounts to this free play on 2nd and 1 from the 21-yard line. And it's a toss to Allen Rice. Returns the corner and goes out of bounds at the 29-yard line. From the 30. First down. 3:25 to go in the quarter. 7-0 Minnesota. Wilson runs the option play. And runs it rather well for 15 yards.
Trying to work up a defense to go against the option.
From the 45-yard line, Wilson throws to Rice. Nice move to escape a tackle, and he nearly gets a first down. He picks up 9. Maurice Douglas runs him out of bounds. 2nd and 1, another free play. The last time they ran a sweep, and this time they'll take advantage of it. And they pick up a first down as Alfred Anderson, one of their alternating, rotating fullbacks. He and Rice come in with the plays, and Mike Singletary makes the tackle. First down. 2nd and 6. Wilson throwing underneath to Jones, and he takes it to the 1-yard line. 3rd and goal, reminiscent last year. Remember, Chicago made a tremendous goal line stand, and Minnesota lost the game. But not this time. They get it in. Alfred Anderson. The question pops into my mind anyway. If Chicago doesn't get going here in the first half, will we eventually see McMahon? 5-yard line, Dennis Gentry. Now to the 36. 2nd and 5 at the 32-yard line. Wilson, who is 8 for 11, is now 9 for 12, and the catch is made by Hassan Jones at the 50-yard line. He's tackled by Mike Richardson. 2nd and 10 from the 49-yard line, and it's Anthony Carter making the catch at the 42. He's short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and a yard and a half coming up.
He's coming back from a separated shoulder on his non-throwing shoulder. Ditka's going to give this guy all the room in the world.
2nd and 10. It's Anderson. And he's run out of bounds near the 20. I think, Dan, that he's going to look at this whole first half and then have to make a decision. Anthony Carter has some room and is run out of bounds after an 8-yard pickup. Crowd wants a late hit, and they won't get one. Maurice Douglas making the stop.
I mean, that's a touchdown against most teams in this league.
3rd and 7. Bears rush 5, and wide open for a first down is Anthony Carter. Boy, did he find the open spot. Bestie Jackson makes the tackle at the 44-yard line. Tackled from behind, and the sack recorded by Dan Hampton, who missed him the first time and just kept pursuing and gets him from a rear.
He may not be going to the Pro Bowl, but Dan Hampton and Steve McMichael have been playing Pro Bowl football all year long. This is Dan Hampton. He's going to get blocked here, but watch him loop all the way around. This is what you call a hustle sack. This is where a guy is blocked. He's out of the play. Watch Hampton end up way to the inside when Wilson scrambles. It's easy to quit there and not keep going, but watch him fight, make the turn, make the 180, come back and get him. The whole counter motion is to get this guy trapped to the one side. You saw Mike Singletary take the step, but then he beats the blocker, and this is, again, nothing more than just extraordinary hustle by Mike Singletary. The counter motion, the fake one direction, is to freeze this guy, keep him out of the play. They can't do it.
7:27 to go in the half. At the 40-yard line, the catch is made by Dozier.
And he's 62 years old.
3rd and 5, inside handoff to Rice, who tries to turn it back and has no room inside, thanks to Mike Singletary, and Bestie Jackson coming up to help out, so they'll have to punt. Bears now from their 9, trailing 14-0. Anderson picks up close to 7. He is stopped at about the 16-yard line by Al Baker and John Harris.
Ditka was very critical this past week of Anderson about his concentration. And you have to feel for Neil Anderson, because coming into tonight's game, you know, he said, please, if there's one thing that happens tonight, don't let me fumble the football. And there's John Harris just waiting for him in the hole, and
Boy, it wasn't much of a hit, was it, guys?
No.
Hardly a jarring tackle, forcing that ball loose.
So that's a burgeoning problem now for Neil Anderson, who is in distress as Minnesota takes over at the 19-yard line. And the catch is made by Alfred Anderson for the touchdown. 3rd and 10. And Tomczak, Morris saved him on the play. Morris was going back toward the middle of the field and then had to stop to make the catch. And that baby wasn't thrown on the money, but it's a completion anyway and a first down at the 50.
I'll tell you, that was a good pass by Tomczak.
That's a better pass than you think, Al.
Pressured right out of the pocket. Now, this is a hard ball to throw. I mean, he's off balance. He knows he's got to get rid of it. He was up in the air when he released it, and that ball, as Ditka said, he's got a strong arm because that ball traveled about 25 or 30 yards.
Now, give Morris a little credit here, too, for coming back. Yeah. Al Noga comes in to spell him, number 99, a rookie out of the University of Hawaii. Nico's brother. And Tomczak to Gentry. He makes a juggling catch. Beautiful catch at the 14-yard line. Coverage by Browner.
Gentry has given the Bears so many big plays this season. And simple down and in, and then a break to the outside. Tomczak under pressure again by Millard. Fires the ball just as Gentry was breaking to the outside. Well thrown ball.
Almost dropped. Dennis Gentry made that catch appear harder than it was. The ball right there for Mike Tomczak, and excellent concentration by Dennis Gentry. Boy, did he stay with that or what?
First down at the 14. Crowd trying to make it difficult for the Chicago Signals to be heard. Throw off to Suey in a big hole to the 8-yard line. Gain of 6. Stopped by Ray Berry, the linebacker. No relation to the New England coach. 2nd down and 4. 2nd down and 5 from the 9-yard line. And Suey again for a first down at the 3-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal. Now look at this. They're going to send in Butler, and Ditka's asking the crowd to lay it on. And Mike, I think what Mike is saying, hey, if you're not going to let us call the signals, we'll just send in the field goal unit here.
But I tell you what he's done. He just made a last-minute substitution, running in his field goal team, trying to get 3 points. How about this?
Yeah, well, it's almost as if, and he's telling the crowd, hey, look, if you're going to keep it up, fine. We'll just go for 3 here with Butler. And they get it. It's like somebody flipped the switch. From silence to booing. And for Minnesota, Dolman was in defensively on the last series, and they say Solomon is fine and may return. You're updated on the injuries, and here's the sack by Troy Johnson, number 92, back at the 17-yard line. That's the report from the Minnesota dressing room. 2nd down and 4. And the catch is made by Dennis McKinnon at the 24-yard line, and enough for a first down. Reggie Rutland with the coverage on the play.
And that was a good throw by Mike Tomczak, keeping the ball low, keeping it down away, because Rutland really had good coverage on McKinnon, and that was just the touch on the ball he needed to get the first down.
Thomas gone, Newton gone, Martin, who was a starter, gone to surgery. Tomczak deep. McKinnon out in front. Touchdown. And does that bring some joy to Mike Ditka's heart?
And a beautifully thrown pass, dead in stride. The Vikings tried to get double coverage on it, and getting over there late was Joey Browner, but Tomczak hit McKinnon right in stride.
Yeah, Joey Browner kind of took a flat angle. Part of the problem there, Rutland doesn't get much of a hit on McKinnon. Now watch Browner come into your picture, and you see how his angle was a little flat. Looks like Joey misjudged where he had to go on the football field to be able to put a hit on McKinnon. That's a big help to a quarterback. And again, Frank, we see Browner coming in late and coming in with the wrong angle.
And Rutland, the cornerback, did nothing to slow him down to help Browner in his coverage deep. And here's Tomczak right after that ball, and we talked about he's got a cocky attitude about it. He thinks he can get it done. Look at that, right to Studwell. Yeah. You don't mess with linebackers, though. You learn that very early.
They take over at the 19-yard line. Muster goes in motion, and Anderson takes the handoff. He's chased by Studwell. He's able to turn the corner on him and thrown out of bounds by Reggie Rutland up at about the 23. Tomczak, and he hits his tight end Cap Boso, who was questionable as to whether he would appear tonight. He suffered bruised ribs last week in the game against Detroit, but he makes his first catch of the night up at the 36-yard line. Still, they're short of the first down by 2. And on 3rd and a yard and a half, Tomczak off play action has Morris, and a flag goes down at the 49-yard line.
Again, another strong arm effort by Tomczak, and this was good coverage by Rutland. They'll call it pass interference, but he was right there, and here comes Morris to the inside, and that ball is whistling in there.
Yeah.
Right hand, but it was almost within the 5-yard area. Anderson had 2 men in front of them. One of them was the rookie Brad Muster, who he was able to cut behind. Look over on the left side.
You see the 3 linemen were to the bottom of the screen. A lot of people might have thought, some of the Vikings included, that Anderson might have been boxed into the sidelines. Instead, he breaks it back to the middle of the field and finds an alley to the end zone. I was going to say, in that case, who am I going to get to represent me?
Wade Wilson scrambling on first down and hits Steve Jordan. Ron Rivera takes the tight end out of bounds after a 13-yard gain up to the 31.
Randall McDaniel, their number 1.
Anderson, and he proves he's one of 2 Andersons who can run tonight. To the 47-yard line, Douglas and Richardson converge on the tackle. The league average is 4, so it's been a very subpar rushing season for Minnesota. 48-yard line. Wilson gets sacked. Rivera gets him back at the 41. Ron Rivera in his 5th season out of the University of California.
Got the quickness, and we saw the speed earlier when he ran down Leo Lewis on a punt return to save a Viking punt return touchdown. Oh, but if you look at Rivera, Dan, you think of all the ones who were not in there from a year ago.
Wilbur Marshall, Otis Wilson. I mean, you think about what this Bear defense has done. Otis Wilson watching this game from over on the Bear sidelines, but there's Otis. From the dog pound to Santa Claus, our guys are willing to make any sacrifice.
Yep. Tomczak from the 24 and open to make the catch is Sanders up at the 48-yard line. First down.
Well, I think that we are seeing what has warranted Mike Ditka's confidence in the way Mike Tomczak has rebounded from what could only be classified as a pretty shaky start.
Of course, he was 15-2 as a starter coming into tonight, and we have to keep in mind that he was out for a couple of weeks with a sore shoulder, and he did have a tough first half, and all of a sudden here in the second half he's exploded, gets it into Sanders. He gives Sanders a little credit too. He knew he was going to get popped.
And who else gets credit is the Bear offensive line. The Viking pass rush has evaporated. There was an entire play, 22 people hitting each other, that never happened.
2nd and 20. Sanders takes it out to the 45. And so it'll be 3rd and 13 coming up. Reggie Rutland makes the tackle. We have 4.5 minutes to play.
Defensive tackle with that kind of verve and vigor.
From the 25 on first down, Hassan Jones to the 46-yard line. Stopped by Duerson. 2 top defenses in the league meeting head-to-head, and we have 38 points on the board. And Wilson going for Jones. Picked off. Bestie Jackson at the 10-yard line.
That's Jackson's 8th interception on a good year. Both wides going deep. And Wade Wilson tried to get it up to Jones.
Well, that's
great
just
coverage.
A classic mistake by Wade Wilson. When your receiver is running that fly pattern, you have to throw the football over the top to the outside. If you make a mistake in throwing the football, it should be that you throw it too far to the outside, never short back to the inside of the field, because look how easy an interception it is for the cornerback. He's on the inside. If you throw the ball short into the inside, it's an interception every time.
First down, Chicago from the 10. 2:43 to go in the period. The up back, the fullback is Brad Muster to the 14-yard line. Chicago. Brad Muster. Lost the ball, and it goes out of bounds, and what a break for Chicago, because there was no Bear near it. Brad Edwards couldn't stop it before it left the playing field. At the 25, could be the final play of the third quarter as Tomczak goes to the air, completes the pass. McKinnon goes out of bounds up at the 45-yard line, and so the Bears in the fourth quarter will start near midfield.
2:03 to 1:43.
Second and 10 from the 45, and it's Brad Muster making the catch.
Muster ought to think about putting the ball away, Al.
Yep, first round draft pick out of Stanford. Yeah, Stanford man should definitely put it away. He was one of 2 first-round draft choices. You know, the funny thing about Chicago, here's a team at the top of the heap right now, and there's a look at the man out of Stanford. They're going to get 3 first-round draft choices in 1989. They get Washington's, they get the Raiders in the Gold deal, and their own. So they're sitting very pretty right now. 40-yard line. Catch is made by Morris. He gets it to the 31. He's stopped by Reggie Rutland. And there's Chicago from the Raiders, the 11th pick, from the Redskins, the 12th, and yet to be determined is their own. The Galt and Marshall transactions responsible for those 2 picks. Second and 1, Muster again. And that's a first down. Now Kevin Butler with a 45-yard field goal attempt. Has the distance and the accuracy, and that baby would have been good from 55. We are 2 from the 31-yard line. Kramer, who is 0 for 3, throws, and the catch is made at the 44-yard line by Anthony Carter. Franchise came into the league in 1961. Almost picked off and then almost caught, and in fact it was.
Oh my gosh.
Morrissey had it.
That ball touches 3 people.
Yep.
The third of whom is Jim Morrissey.
What a diving effort on the part of Morrissey to save it and also stay in bounds.
Does he have his hands underneath the ball? Does he keep the ball off the field?
It's Carter's right hand on the way down too. Left.
Yep. And then it's going to come off
And then right.
his... Oh, it
Right
comes
hand.
off the right hand.
Yep.
Now let's look at Morrissey. Oh, guys, you can't have it any better than
Yeah.
this.
Look at this shot.
Oh!
He got it.
Interception!
He did get it.
He get the hand under there.
Oh, guys, you're the greatest. That is fabulous. If the replay booth wants something, that's how you give it to him.
Just a moment ago, there was quite a confrontation between Mike Tomczak, his tight end, Cap Bozo, and let's go back. This happened a moment ago, and they were right face-to-face jarring it, and Bozo giving Tomczak a few words. Now, Landry stepped in to try and quiet things down, and here's Ditka, the new Ditka, very calmly observing, and it really got heated. Now, watch Bozo turn on Landry. The Bears, they're a lot of fun.
Only one guy can be in charge here, and it's got to be the guy wearing the 1 and the 8.
Well, there's a real odd twist to this game as well as Tomczak takes over at the 38. Muster. You know, the funny thing is we spent the first half of the game talking about Chicago and how they're going to get which quarterback ready for their playoff game. 3rd and 3 from the 45. Great catch. Muster, fingertip. First down at the 27.
That was a great catch. You don't expect a fullback to have hands like that.
Except this one. He was a great receiver at Stanford. And Tomczak actually put this ball just about where he had to put it to get the completion.
Again, the protection by the Bear offensive line, with the exception of one time here in the second half where Millard has broken through to get a sack, that in the grass, they played very, very well.
First and 10. Anderson. Anderson takes it to the 22-yard line.
Look at him squeeze that football.
He's approaching 100 yards tonight. As you look at the clock, 5.5 minutes to play. 2nd and 5.
Safety blitz.
22 and a draw, which is a nice play to run with a safety blitz as Mustard takes it to the 16-yard line.
Keeping here also is the Bears only down by 1, well within Kevin Butler's field goal range.
Mustard to the 6, and that's very close to a first down. Stopped by Brad Edwards, and it might be even close enough for a measurement. It's that close.
Watch this. They are just beating the Vikings off the line of scrimmage late in the game, and I'll tell you again, it's a game that means absolutely nothing as far as what's going to happen to the Bears in the playoffs.
3rd and a short 3. And Tomczak has it intercepted by Walker Lee Ashley. And Walker Lee Ashley goes all the way.
Great effort by Joey Browner to get out in front and throw a key block.
Oh, and now the Vikings get over there and start taunting Mike Tomczak. Well, this is where Mike Tomczak grows up. A horrible thing has happened to him, but now it's time to go right back in there.
28-20. At the 6, Sanders comes back the other way, and Sanders breaks a run back all the way out to the 45-yard line. Run out of bounds by Browner, and here's the taunting of Tomczak.
I think it's David Howard, number 51, who's going to come over. Now, there's one of the Vikings going to give a helping hand. Howard comes in from the right, shoves his teammate out of the way. In fact, that was Joey Browner in a class move, going to help him up. And then David Howard, in a rather tasteless move, comes in and puts a little salt in the open wound.
Everybody into the pattern, 5 receivers. And he chooses Davis. That's Wendell Davis, the LSU rookie, and he gets out of bounds to stop the clock with 1:55 at the 20-yard line.
And something tells me Dick has seen nothing to dissuade him from starting him in the playoffs.
I don't imagine. Blitz. He gets rid of it. And he hits his receiver at the 1-yard line, Dennis Gentry, to set up a 1st and goal.
Well,
with 1:46, and a timeout is called by Chicago. Timeout.
And I agree. Even with the interception, I don't think Ditka will back away from the commitment to go with Tomczak in the playoffs. Lee on the left side. And just as he gets popped from Henderson on the right, he gets the ball to Gentry, and Gentry makes a clutch catch inside the 2.
And it's a little quieter in here than it was just 30, 40 seconds ago.
2nd and goal. And a flag is thrown as the catch is made by Gentry.
Let's watch the coverage. Looks like good coverage by Rutland. Well, you can see he grabbed him a little bit with the left arm, but boy, I mean, give Gentry credit. That's a Chicago touchdown all the way. And I'm glad for Rutland's sake that he went ahead and caught it, because that would have been a shaky interference penalty, I think. That's very marginal, but what a catch by Gentry.
It goes 10 yards, and Jordan is there to recover for Minnesota. The sure-handed tight end, Steve Jordan.
Well, if by chance they do meet again in the playoffs, as we said earlier, it would have to be in the NFC Championship game, and if that's the case, our friends at CBS are going to have a whale of a ballgame.
They will. The quick wave by Mike Ditka to Jerry Burns, his counterpart. And for the Vikings, they stay home, and for the Bears, not a bad comeback.
Well, there's your final score.
They do spread it around, don't they?
28-27 as the Vikings win it.
Gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for another fine year.
And thank you, sir.
And
I appreciate it.
thank you both.